Hello everyone, welcome to Chapter 1 channel. Today I'm going to talk about a movie named Unstoppable. Spoilers ahead. I hope that you enjoying watching this. Dong-chul and his pal Chun-sik are working at a fish delivery service at the beginning of the film. After meeting his wife, Dong-chul left his life as a gangster and started working at regular careers. They hear a disturbance one day because one of the merchants is unable to pay their boss, Kang, the maintenance charge. Dong-chul is privately informed by Chun-sik that Kang has yet to pay them as well. However, both men bow their heads in deference as Kang and his soldiers pass. Just then, Dong-chul gets a phone call from someone, and he and Chun-sik rush to meet him. It turns out Dong-chul has a habit of investing in shady deals, and this time, he's looking into a business involving king crabs. After checking out some samples and hesitating, he decides to go all in, using money that includes the 100 million won he borrowed from the bank. Meanwhile, Dong-chul's wife, Jisoo, is juggling two jobs just to keep their household afloat. Later that day, as they head home, Dong-chul brings up his king crab investment idea, but Jisoo snaps. She's fed up with his risky investments that always end in scams, leaving them buried in debt. Elsewhere, a gang led by a man named Tae-yi is trying to break into an apartment. Once inside, he brutally attacks a debtor and is about to kill him when the man's daughter walks in. Tae-yi is immediately struck by her beauty. Instead of leaving, he and his men kidnap the girl to use her as ransom for the debt. Tae-yi's car accidentally collides with Dong-chul's car as they are leaving. Dong-chul goes outside to inspect the damage and demands that Do-sik, Tae-yi's driver, come out and notify the authorities of the collision. But because they're concealing the kidnapped girl, Do-sik becomes alarmed and promptly gives Dong-chul money in exchange. When Jisoo shows up, she yells at the driver for throwing money at her husband and orders Dong-chul to contact the police. Captivated by Jisoo's attractiveness, Tae-yi exits the vehicle, assaults his own driver, and then apologizes to Dong-chul. Seeing what happened, Dong-chul and his wife panic and quickly leave. The next day, Dong-chul goes to see Kang to collect his paycheck, but he only receives a small portion of what he's owed. He tries to ask for more, but Kang ignores him, leaving him no choice but to walk away. After that, he meets up with Chun-sik, and they find out that the king crab shipment is stuck at a Chinese port. Realizing they've likely been scammed again, they worry about how Jisoo will react when she finds out. That evening, Dong-chul takes Jisoo out for a birthday dinner. During their conversation, Jisoo suggests they get a fake divorce to protect their apartment, but Dong-chul gets upset and refuses. He then tells her about his investment in king crabs, and when she hears how much money he put in, she explodes in anger. Trying to calm her down, he steps away to get her birthday cake, but by the time he returns, she's already left. While riding in a taxi home, Jisoo begins to feel bad about their disagreement and texts Dong-chul to let him know she believes in his judgment. Still in the restaurant, Dong-chul feels relieved and heads straight home. In the meantime, a man named Lim Gu is moving cargo between two automobiles, forcing Jisoo's taxi to stop in the middle of the road. But in reality, Lim Gu is one of Tae-yi's men, purposefully obstructing Dong-chul's path. At the same time, one of Tae-yi's goons kidnaps Jisoo back at their apartment. Jisoo is nowhere to be seen, and their apartment is utterly destroyed when Dong-chul gets home. He runs to the police station in a panic to report the incident. The police check the building's CCTV footage, but before the kidnapping happened, someone had deliberately disabled the cameras. As Dong-chul leaves the station, he receives a call from Tae-yi, who lets him hear Jisoo's distressed voice over the phone. Tae-yi then tells him to check the fridge, where he finds a business card with instructions to meet at a restaurant. When Dong-chul arrives, Tae-yi calls him again and tells him to open a bag in front of him. Inside, the bag is stuffed with cash. Tae-yi coldly explains that this is the price for Jisoo, she won't be coming home. Furious, Dong-chul takes the money to the police as evidence. However, after investigating, the police dismiss the case as just another instance of human trafficking and refuse to do anything. Realizing that the police aren't taking Jisoo's kidnapping seriously, Dong-chul starts investigating on his own. He soon learns that many other women in the city have been abducted in the same way, and none of them have been found alive. Determined to save his wife, he decides to take matters into his own hands. He reaches out to his friend Chun-sik, who helps set up a meeting with a private detective named Bae. However, Chun-sik warns him that Bae demands a large payment, which they can't afford, especially after handing over Kai's money to the police. Desperate, Dong-chul returns to Kang and demands his full wages. As expected, Kang refuses to pay him the full amount and instead scolds him. When Kang's men try to chase him off, Dong-chul fights back, easily taking them down. Shocked by Dong-chul's strength, Kang finally gives him all the money he's owed. Dong-chul and Chun-sik visit with Detective Bae and beg for his assistance after obtaining the money. Bae says that even though Dong-chul offers him everything he has, it is insufficient. To get Bae's help, Chun-sik secretly offers him 5% of the proceeds from their king crab investment. The following day, Bae looks over CCTV footage and locates the license plate of the individual who left Dong-chul's money bag. They find the owner of the car after more investigation and approach him. When questioned, the individual admits that he was deeply in debt from gambling and sold a bookmaker the license plate number of his automobile. Following this lead, the group heads to the shady gambling den where the transaction took place. They are led to a woman in charge, who assumes they're there to buy either fake license plates or drugs. When they ask for information about one of her clients, she immediately suspects them of being undercover cops and orders her men to attack. However, Dong-chul takes them down one by one, forcing the woman to hand over the details he needs. That night, Dong-chul goes to a nightclub using the business card he got from the bookie. Unfortunately, the card is outdated, and the club is now under new management. While parking, he spots a van leaving the premises with a man and several women inside. He immediately recognizes the man as Lim Gu, the same guy who delayed him on the night of Jisoo's abduction. Dong-chul confronts Lim Gu as he makes his way back to his car and orders him to leave. But Lim Gu escapes before Dong-chul can do anything. Later, Dong-chul gets the heartbreaking call that a body has been discovered by the police. Dong-chul, whose heart is racing, dashes to the station to check if Jisoo's body is there. To his relief, it's not her, but he's still afraid. When Bae looks into the woman's identity the following day, he discovers that she has been missing for 2 years. Oddly, she was already in a coma prior to being abducted. Even stranger was the fact that her husband had previously visited the police station to confess to something, but it is still unknown why. Dong-chul, Chun-sik, and Bae track down the woman's husband to get answers. The man reveals that his wife had been in a coma for 2 years, and during that time, he had cared for her and struggled to afford her treatment. Desperate for help, they even appeared on a TV show asking for donations. One day, Kai approached him with a disturbing offer, a large sum of money in exchange for his wife, whom Kai referred to as nothing more than a living corpse. Under immense pressure, the husband gave in and handed his wife over in exchange for the money. Now, racked with guilt, he deeply regrets his decision. Before Dong-chul leaves, the man shares some information about the people involved in the operation. However, as they walk away, a commotion erupts outside. The man has jumped from the top of the building, taking his own life. Dong-chul, shaken, scans the information the man provided and instantly recognizes a name, Do-sik, the same man who was in the vehicle accident a few days prior. Unflinching, he finds Do-sik, who doesn't remember him. He is immediately dragged from his office by Dong-chul, who then takes him to Bae's hiding place to question him. Do-sik endures hours of terrible torture there, but he won't tell. Then, as Jisoo is being tormented, Kai calls them on video. He tells Dong-chul icily that he must kill Do-sik if he wants his wife back. Dong-chul seems to lose it as he sees Jisoo in agony and chokes Do-sik till he passes out. However, it becomes clear after the call that Dong-chul was merely acting. He had merely pinched Do-sik in a way that made him pass out. Moments later, Dong-chul slaps him awake. Now terrified, Do-sik finally talks. He reveals that they are loan sharks who kidnap debtors or their loved ones if they fail to pay. Sometimes, they abduct women simply because of their looks. These victims are then trafficked to foreign countries for prostitution, sold at exorbitant prices. Kai, a man who believes money can buy anything, has been running this operation for years. However, Dong-chul is the first person to ever fight back. Despite spilling all this information, Do-sik claims he doesn't know the exact location of the hostages, only the general province they're being held in. With this new lead, Dong-chul and his friends come up with a plan to retrieve the money from the police. Arriving at the station, Bae and Chun-sik disguise themselves as prosecutors from the central office in Seoul, claiming they need to take the money bag for further investigation. The officer agrees to hand over the bag but insists on notifying the lead detective. Despite their objections, he calls the detective, who quickly realizes the case was never officially reported to the prosecution. Outside, Dong-chul listens in on their conversation and realizes their cover has been blown. Thinking fast, he creates a diversion by blowing up a detective's car. Amidst the chaos, they manage to escape with the money. Meanwhile, several kidnapped women, including Jisoo, remain trapped in Kai's hideout. Kai is furious when he learns that Lim Gu abused one of the women, so he beats him with a bat as punishment. Shortly after, he receives a call from Dong-chul, who informs him they have successfully retrieved the money. Kai pretends to agree to an exchange and invites Dong-chul to his hideout, but secretly orders his men to kill him as soon as he gets the money. When Jisoo returns to the hiding place, he observes an oddity: the window appears to have just been fixed. A small opening is created when she and another woman tear off the covering and manage to loosen the door bar. Jisoo manages to get through, but a kidnapper catches the young girl behind her as she is ready to flee. Jisoo is forced to continue running, so she rushes into the main road and begs a passing motorist to take her to the closest police station. As luck would have it, they hit traffic right in front of the station. Jisoo jumps out of the car and makes a run for the entrance, but just as she's about to reach safety, Kai's car screeches to a stop in front of her. He jumps out and drags her away. The next day, Dong-chul and his friends arrive at the hideout where the women are being held. Determined to save Jisoo, Dong-chul storms into the building, fighting anyone who gets in his way. Meanwhile, the kidnappers prepare to move the remaining women to another location. Inside, Lim-gu hears the commotion and runs out to investigate, only to be knocked out by Dong-chul. At the same time, Bae and Chun-sik free the kidnapped women, and soon after, the police arrive to arrest the criminals. Dong-chul frantically searches for Jisoo, believing she escaped through the window. While running outside, he spots Kai's car speeding away with her inside. Realizing what's happening, Kai orders his driver to accelerate. Dong-chul gives chase, desperately trying to stop them. The pursuit ends in a dramatic crash, sending Dong-chul's car tumbling down a hill. Seizing the moment, Kai grabs an axe and approaches Dong-chul's wrecked vehicle. He smashes the windshield, only to find that Dong-chul is gone. Suddenly, Dong-chul appears and drags Kai to the ground, unleashing a brutal flurry of punches. Dong-chul overcomes Kai and kicks him aside following a furious struggle. Kai attempts to control the situation after understanding he's lost. He apologizes and even makes suicide threats. Dong-chul, however, is not duped. He holds Kai in place and beats him until he faints. Dong-chul runs to Jisoo and awakens her up when the fight is done. They embrace as the cops arrive, overcome with relief. Following the ordeal, Kai and his entire gang are arrested, and Dong-chul's heroic actions make headlines. He is hailed as a hero. In an unexpected twist, the long-awaited king crab shipment finally arrives in Korea, and, against all odds, it turns out to be a highly profitable investment. Dong-chul becomes rich, and in the final scene, he and Jisoo celebrate her birthday at their new restaurant, enjoying a feast of king crab together. So, this was the movie named Unstoppable. Subscribe to my channel for more movie like this. Thank you for watching. Take care everyone.